This is going to be the second half of the ring tilt movie, but this time we're going to turn it into 3D. I want you to look in the project window how I have a ring tilt comp and a ring tilt 2 comp, and I'm going to double click them to replace them back here. In the comp 1 that's down here in the timeline, you can see that I put a ring tilt below and above the earth. Let me turn off ring tilt 2 so we only concentrate on ring tilt. The one that is above the earth in the timeline is actually in front of the earth in the comp window. The one that is below the earth in the timeline is actually behind the earth in the comp window. But what if I don't want to do that? What if I don't need to do that? I could have began this entire thing by only taking the ring tilt and the ring tilt 2, the one with the stripe and the one without it. If you remember that, what's called composite on original. I can turn that on and off, but I only need one of each of these layers. Okay, but I'm going to double click ring tilt and let you see what I mean. In ring tilt, this is already bent in a fake 3D. All right, that's called, if I hit the E key down here, you can see that's called basic 3D. I don't need that. I want to get rid of it, but I don't want to hurt my original file. And I'm going to let you know something. I could, look up here, I could click in the project window, click this and hit Command D and duplicate this and then rename it Ring Tilt 3D, and then can do that one for Ring Tilt 2 and duplicate it so I have a Ring Tilt 2 3D. But that's just making it way more confused. What I want to do is to save as on this file and call it Brian Ring 3D. That's what I wish you would do. So to try this out, it's not even going to take that much. Take After Effects, File, Save As. Let's put Brian Ring 3D and let's save it right into the same folder, and I'm going to give it to you guys so you can see it anyway. Okay, you'll have all the assets anyway. So now I have a 3D, so now I don't have to worry about ruining that other one. Okay, again, there's so many ways to do things in After Effects. This is just one way, and I think it's the most efficient way in this case. What I want to do to the ring tilt is remove the basic 3D, so I hit it in the timeline after I hit the E key and just remove it. So it is a completely, let me move this to fit up to 100%, so that this is completely fitting within, and this is a good thing to show you. This one is not fitting in for some reason, and I'm kind of glad that it did this. Do you see how part of this ring up here got out of position? I'm going to make sure that this is fitting exactly. I know what happened. I moved it up and down a while ago so that I could position it on the earth a little bit better when I tilted it, when it had the basic thing. But I'm glad this is actually cut off here, if you can see where I'm circling, because if I tried to do this, it would actually get cut off in the final. Probably not in the way that you think. So before I try to fix this, I'm going to leave it alone and see if it's going to be cut off so you can see an error, because to fix an error is great in front of you. Now, and I don't really call it an error, I just call it an oopsie. All right, now let's double click Ring Tilt 2 and remove the effect of basic 3D. So let me hit the E key here in this composition, and let's take basic 3D and remove it. And again, we see that I almost have cut off the lettering, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to click up here in this composition that we named Comp 1, and I'm going to call this one, it's down here, if you see it up there, I'm going to name it 3D Comp. So I'm going to hit the return key after I click on it up here, and I'm going to call it 3D Comp, and hit the return key again to accept it. And now I have, whoops, that really didn't do the job. I shouldn't have hit the shift key. Okay, I had to hit it up here again. Let me go like this, click, delete 3, return key, and now I have my 3D comp command has to save the file. Now it should be this simple, and if I have to fix it, I'll come back to Ring Tilt or Ring Tilt 2 to fix it. So I'm going to double click, or click, I'm sorry, the Ring Tilt comp down here. I'm going to remove both of the ones that are underneath because I don't need them underneath. As a matter of fact, I need it on top of the earth. So I take Ring Tilt 2 and Ring Tilt that were underneath the earth and get rid of them. I now click up here and hit the M key and I remove the first mask. Not a big deal, it's easy. And I click on Ring Tilt and hit the M key for mask, click the mask and hit delete. Now you can see that it's still cut off right here. All right. And I probably could just bring the original rotate text comps down, rotate text layers back into this, but this is fine. I'll leave these comps. There's several ways to do this. If you look over here, I'm going to activate the 3D, and I want to hit the T key first before I do that, because you can see how the ring tilt comp, if I hit the T key, the ring tilt comp is showing from 100, and if you remember at the 6-second mark, it actually goes from here to 712, 100 to 0, and I'm clicking or circling the ones that I'm really concentrating on here. So for a moment I'll turn off ring tilt, just so you, ring tilt 2. Now let's concentrate on ring tilt and let's get it right. And then I'll play with it and put the same exact position numerical inputs into ring tilt 2 so it lines exactly up, which isn't going to be hard. Now what I want to do is to activate the Earth's 3D layer. Nothing really happened. You didn't see anything really happen on screen. Let me move this down so I can get it as big as I possibly can and fit it up to 100% here so you can see it nicely. And remember, the top was cut off. You can see it cut off right there. Let's check and see if it's going to stay cut off. Now let's activate the 3D window here, and let's activate the 3D window here. Now in the 3D window you can see immediately that there's an orientation for X, Y, and Z. There's an X rotation and a Y rotation. Alright, what I want to do is to actually play with, and if you remember, if you can look right here in the center, if I were to pivot this, you can tell that if I actually had a pin going from the right side to the left side through the Earth, that would be the X rotation, because that's aligning itself with the X ruler. So I'm going to go up here on the window up here, and the W key is the rotation tool. Now watch in the rotation tool how I put it over the x-axis, and I can actually rotate it on the x-axis, or I can come up here to the y-axis. See how I have a little y in the middle of the screen, if you can see it, or a z one in the middle, but I want the x one. When I click it, you can see that I'm actually now rotating it. But do you see how that little guy is cut off on top? Now I'm going to leave it cut off just like that. Alright, and I'm going to go back to my ring tilt comp and fix it. Now let's click over to the ring tilt comp. Let's hit the P key, or just simply click this one with the selection tool. I like how you see me fixing an error. Let's just click this one. Whoops. Let's click away and click back on the whole layer and move it down so it centers itself. Now we have to put it in the exact same position on the ring tilt 2. So let's hit the P key to see the exact same position. It's 360 by 244.3. Why don't we make this just 244 so we can click it and go Command C. Look, 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 look. Now let's click on ring tilt 2. Let's click rotate text and hit the P, and let's click over here and click and go Command V. Now I have 244 over there. So this one lines up exactly to the position that ring tilt lines up to. Now when I go back to the 3D comp, you can see how you can now see the top of this. Now if I have to position this and move it up or down to my liking, I'll know in a minute. So back to this. If I grab this, and you can tell that my grabbing has made the X orientation right here be 340 degrees. So if, as I'm rotating it, keep your eye where I'm circling on the ring tilt orientation. So I'm going to go back to the W key, which is the rotation tool, and I'm going to slide this, and you can see now how I'm putting the ring exactly where I want to. And it's okay. It's a little, I can see the bottom of the Earth, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it alone. If I wanted to, I would lift it up a little tiny bit higher and then redo the position of it. All right. Let me click Shift P, and you can see the position is 360 by 240. Maybe because I'm picky, I'll actually move it up. Count with me. This is X, Y, and Z. So if I take 240 and go up a little bit, you can see that I think that looks better at 219. I can't stand odd numbers. Let's go to 220. Good. And let's put the ring tilt 2 at the exact same rotation. If you follow me here, it's 292 on the rotation, on the orientation rotation. Say that fast 5 times. And 360 and 223. I didn't touch 360 on the position. It's 220. So I have to worry about 292 on X and 220 on Y. So let's click ring tilt 2. Let's go down the list, click Ring Tilt 2. Let me move this up. And now let's go click the P for position and Shift R for rotation. So I have everything the way that I need it to have it. Now let's look at the numbers. All you have to do is click and make this one 220. Okay, and now all I have to do is find the 292. I can click and go Command C, very simply click up here and go Command V and hit the return key, and now that one is exactly the same as the ring tilt. And the reason why now, because you don't see the back of it and I don't have to use any simple silly masks, is because we have a Z-axis with the making of 3D layers. Now basically I'm finished. All I had to do, make sure they line up. So if you click ring tilt and make changes to position and rotation, which when you click rotation you get these axes right there, make the same inputs on ring tilt 2. That's all you got to do. Now I'm going to close these up and I'm going to click onto the final one because that was our final before, and please make a movie out of this. Now I'll go through real fast and make a movie out of this. Just so you can see it. I don't know how long it'll take to make the movie, but I'll probably stop it in the meantime. But I wanted you to see how to solve it both ways, with masks and with a 3D layer. So remember to leave your original file alone and save as. I will add this. If we wanted to do the 3D layer from the beginning, we probably could have, and watch what I'm going to do, we probably could have taken Rotate Text 1 and simply duplicated the layer, turned Composite on Original off, and had Rotate Text 1 here, maybe rename the Rotate Text 1 for Ring Tilt 2, maybe say Ring Tilt Composite on, Ring Tilt Composite off, I have no idea, and then they, without having to have them in separate compositions, they could have just been layers above the earth here. Do you understand? So that I could have turned the 3D on here without having to have compositions. The only reason I had compositions here was because I saved as on the first movie and it just seemed easier. As I said, there's many ways to do the same thing in After Effects. So let me click the final one. Let me hit the, I'm going to ram just a little bit of this and just see it. So let me hit the N key right here, and I'll move this down right where the transition would be occurring, right in the middle. And I just want to ram this quick area right there, and let's see if this rams very nicely. And that should be where just about the transition is taking place. And it's perfect. You can see right now the transition is perfect. And I told you a while ago, if the space were moving slower, it would make much more sense. To me, it's just moving too darn fast. So if I go back to the 3D comp, do you see the big space down here? I know you all can see it. Let me turn off the paragraph. I know you all can see the big space right here. I'm going to hit the P key. I have it moving far too far, if I can say it that way. Let me move this back just like this. And now I'm going to move it, I'm going to delete out the end key right there and just delete it out of the big space on position. I'm now going to hit the end key, or move this all the way to the end, and I'm only going to hit the V key for the selection tool. I was in the rotate tool, and just move this a little bit so space is just moving reasonably slowly, maybe just a little bit more. Okay, and let's now see if that seems more reasonable. So let's go up in size. Let's go like this. Let's click over to the final. Let's make sure that we are going here. Let me just extend my RAM just a little bit more, and now I'll ram only the center of this at this size. Okay, so we'll hit the 0 button, and now see how space is moving a lot slower. It's maybe just a little bit less confusing and better aesthetically. So that's fine. I think that's good. And to make a movie, as I have told you, since I don't really have a movie that says to make a movie, you go to make a movie, which is Command M. I'll move this up. I'll add my little things in here. I'll go fit in this window real small. And now let me click back to the render queue. I'll name this one 3D Final, which is going to look the same as the other one. I'll make sure I save it into the correct folder. I'll try to do this very quickly. Here is my Ring folder, Student 1 right there. And let's go to QuickTime Movie, and that's fine. And now we click Best Settings. On best settings, you always go best, full, and since I've made the work area really small, you better make it length of comp, not the work area, which is the RAM area. I'll say okay. Remember, it's best, full, length of comp. And under lossless, let's go click, and under lossless, let's make it format options right now of Sorensen 3. Do not leave it as animation. And for now, we'll make this 1000K on the data rate. That'll be fine quality for this one. And if you want to even save more memory on this, not make it such a big file, limit the data rate, but in increments of 30. You can go either 30, 60, 90, 120, 300, 600, 900, but make sure it's always in increments of what the frame rate is, which is 29.97, but it's really 30 with a drop frame. So let's go click OK. There is audio output, and I have asked you people to go in and change this to it's got to be in a division of 44,100. So if I'm going to go to half size, which the audio, it can very much hold this, it'll make it a lot less memory. It's 22050. Okay, so you either go 44,100, 22050, or 11.025. I'm going to take it and make it mono so it's equally coming out of both speakers, and I'm going to say OK on that. But really, the format option is IMA421. That's 1/4 the memory that it'll take, and still be fine quality. So there is your format option for audio. It's on. Video is on. OK is on. I should hit caps lock, but I'm going to hit render, and now this is going to make a movie, and then this movie as it's made will be in your folder on the server. And it'll be the Brian Ring 3D that you can test. And let's go on to the next file.